Hi, everyone, and welcome to Peace.Love.Balance with Bobby Foster Kelly and myself, Adina Das. Today's journey is going to be about breath and the power of breath and how it can help you.
Hello, everyone. So let's just talk about what breath is a little bit. Love that we can talk about breath as a noun, and that it means that it's air that's taken into the lungs and expelled from the lungs. So we know that when we breathe in, we're breathing in oxygen, and when we breathe out, we're expelling carbon dioxide. So it's like breathing in good, clean air, and then breathing out all the yucky stuff, carbon dioxide, used up air. And there's other names for breath too that you might have heard, things like prana or chi or life force particles. So, you know, one of the objectives for Adina and I for this particular video is just to be aware of our breath and all of the amazing things that our breath can do for us.
And I think one of the biggest things that we've discussed before and we'd like to share with you is, yes, there's a lot of different ways that you can manage your breath. So what Bobby and myself are going to do for you today is just to take you through two very exceptional, if we don't say ourselves, and very powerful breath techniques.
Yep.
And it's not that these are the only ones, but these are definitely two that we hold dear and near to our heart, pun intended, so that we're going to share these with you. And the why, observing your breath and focusing on your breath, because what we've shared before is that breath comes very natural. We don't even have to think about it. Your body and your system does it on its own. But then you also, why is it that I would become more aware of my breath? Well, you couldn't do something that puts you more in your present moment, in your present body and in your physical body, then taking some very focused breathing techniques. And then what it also does is it gives you the ability to take you out of your busy mind and put you more into your body. And as we go on this journey, we talk about and become more aware that the less we're in our busy mind and the more we're in our physical body and aware of our body, and our body is a channel and a guide for our life experience. So coming out of the mind and into the body and creating an awareness, it allows you to get more in touch with the inner voices that will guide you versus the busy mind, which will maybe detour you from a direct mission. And then it actually does physical things to the body, which slows down the nervous system, which I believe, you know, all of this is very inclusive in the fact of quieting the mind, calming the nervous system, and then becoming very connected to self, which will allow you to
make good decisions, first of all.
Stop.
It's another word for it is grounding, right? So it's when we come out of our head or out of our busy space and we get more into our bodies, we feel more grounded and we're better able to make decisions. We're better able to be responsive versus reactive, things like that. So there's an acronym, I learned this from Deepak Chopra actually, that's called STOP. And it's just a good sort of trigger for yourself when you feel yourself in that place of maybe anxiousness or anxiety or nervousness or fidgetiness, and you just need to be a little calmer or a little bit more present. So stop means, first of all, we stop, and then we take 3 deep breaths. And then observe what's happening in your body. What's the situation that's going on? So again, we're just stopping for a minute, paying attention to our breathing, observing what's going on. Then we can proceed with kindness and compassion. So here's, you know, Adina mentioned this, that it helps to calm your nervous system. And we just wanted to take a couple minutes and just give you, I think there's a couple slides actually that sort of point to, and some cartoons and, you know, what physiologically happens in your body with breath. I mean, we all know that the first thing that you do when you come into this world is you take a breath, and the last thing you do when you leave this world is you know, people say that he took his final breath, right? And all that time in between, without us putting awareness on it, our bodies breathe on their own. It's autonomic, and it's not something that we have to do or pay attention to or control. It just happens automatically. And, you know, there's certain processes that happen in the body, like blood pressure and, you know, heart rate and things that go along with breathing. So again, it works autonomously. That means without us being consciously aware of we're breathing. And so, you know, again, Adina said that it helps to calm down our nervous system. Our nervous system, there's two branches to it. One is called the parasympathetic nervous system, and one is called the sympathetic nervous system. So sympathetic is fight or flight. This is when we feel like there's danger and we've got to do something to take action. This is active when we're feeling any sort of stress or any sort of anxiety. And what happens when we're in this, when our sympathetic nervous system is engaged, is that we our body, many of our body functions slow down, because it takes energy from the body to manage those stress hormones that are being released and all of the things that are happening in our body. So it literally begins to shut down some of the functions of our body, particularly our, I say particularly, but it's not the only one, but our digestive system slows down, because again, our body needs the energy that it would take to digest food in order to manage what's happening when you're in the stress response. So things happen like your pupils dilate, your heart rate goes up, your blood sugar actually goes up, your pancreas, you know, secretes more insulin. And then the other branch is called the parasympathetic. And this is what we're going to focus on when we talk about breathing, because breath work helps to calm your body down, helps to activate your parasympathetic nervous system. This is called the relaxation response, or the rest and digest response. So you can see here, it's just the opposite of what I said. When our sympathetic nervous system is active, in the relaxation response, all of these things begin to go down. Our blood pressure, our heart rate, our blood sugar, all of those stress hormones that were released begin to go down. And it literally, once the stress hormone is activated and your body's in sympathetic nervous system, it literally takes the body about 90 minutes for it to settle back down to a relaxed state. So the faster you catch it, the quicker you know you're in that place, the faster you can get out of that place. So I guess I'm up first, Adina. I feel like I'm talking a lot, but here we go. Let's everybody ready to just, you know, speak to or practice our first technique. This is one of my favorites. I learned this through the Heart Math organization. I'm a certified trainer through them. And one of the premises of the Heart Math training is that we know that the heart sends more signals to the brain than the brain does to the heart. And when our brain is calm and relaxed, again, we're able to make good decisions. We're able to respond versus react. And you know what happens when we're in the opposite of that. So heart-focused breathing is really about focusing on the breath. It's a really good technique to do when you're feeling a little bit of stress or anxiety. If you're going into a meeting that you know might create a little bit of stress or anxiety. You're going into a conversation that you might not be so excited to have. You're going to go on stage and do a presentation. Anything that might sort of like, you know, ramp up your energy or your nervous system. And, you know, heart-focused breathing helps you to just really renew and to recharge and to just manage your stress. So super simple. Just make yourself comfortable. If you're sitting right now, if you can put your feet on the floor, that would be awesome. Spine straight. And I just want you to just begin to pay attention to your chest area, to the center of your heart, or your heart area in the center of your chest. And just maybe close your eyes if that feels comfortable to you. And just begin to breathe and create a rhythm or a cycle of breathing. If you can breathe into the count of 5 and then exhale to the count of 5, that's a really good benchmark. If that's too much for you, you can breathe in for 3 and out for 3. But again, the idea is to create a nice pace for yourself, a nice rhythm for yourself. And you're going to just be breathing a little slower, a little deeper than usual, and just really paying attention to the heart area and your breath. So let's just do it together. I'll count for you. Inhale to the count of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then just exhale to the count of 5. And inhale. And then exhale. And then just inhale again, continuing to focus on the heart area. And as you continue your breathing, I want you to just think of an experience or a feeling of care, of love, something that makes you happy. Could be a place, it could be a person, could be a vacation, it could be a pet, something that creates a regenerative feeling. It makes you feel happy, makes you feel grateful, makes you feel loved. And just focus, continue to focus on that feeling or on that person or on that experience as you're continuing your breath work into the count of 5 and out to the count of 5. And I think you can feel probably now already a little bit of calmness in your body. You've probably had a round of maybe 6 breaths in and 6 breaths out at this point. So I think you can see how in just a few minutes, in just a few cycles of breath, heart-focused breathing can really change your state and get you in a place where your heart is sending wonderful signals to your brain, and your brain is then reacting in a way that is more how you want it to. And when you're ready, you can just open your eyes, come back to the present, come back to the room that you're in. And again, just pay attention for a minute about how you might feel a little bit differently now than you did before we started this technique. It's a super simple one. You can do it anywhere, anytime. Nobody even has to know, but it's a great technique to prepare yourself when you're about to do something that you feel you want to have a little bit more calmness when you approach the situation. How are you feeling, Adina?
Oh, nice. It's like just bubbly. It feels really good. And what makes me think about is, the work that we do, the work that anybody does, and putting yourself in that place where you're saying like the signal comes from your heart. And we, in this conscious awareness, that's the place where everybody wants to come from, because that's your true and authentic self. So giving yourself the opportunity to take these few really focused deep breaths in the heart area allows you to show up. I always say for yourself first, but then how you show up for everybody else is very, true and authentic. It's beautiful. It's a really nice technique. And just like you said, it's really simple. It's really, it can happen so fast and so easy.
Yep.
That why wouldn't you? Right.
It's interesting when I tell people, when people hear for the first time that the, research at HeartMath shows that the heart sends more signals to the brain than the brain to the heart. People, I usually get that look like, huh? And the real sciencey sort of people, they're like, no, that's not true. The brain controls everything. And it's like, yes, the brain controls the systems within our body, right? It tells the body what to do. But here's what we're saying is that, do you want that brain, when it's busy and unfocused and crazy, to actually tell your body what to do? Or do you want your heart, the emotion, the feeling that's in your heart, to talk to your brain first, then let your brain react? Okay, your brain will react to it. But just like you said, Adina, in a little bit of a different way, we want our heart and our pureness and our goodness and our calmness to give the signal to our brain first, so that the way that we react and respond is a way that comes from, our true self. So
especially when, this is maybe a new thought process for you. Maybe this is new information for you. So in this new information, making sure that you understand the why behind what we're sharing with you, because I think what's important is as we start to reprogram the mind and reprogram the body and reprogram the what was and how we used to function in this life, knowing these facts and the why behind it really helps you to stay grounded and solid in the idea of, no, I know scientifically proven that if I implement this, then I will see the changes that I'm looking for. Because if you're here and you're listening, you're looking for change. And so these are the small daily practices, small momentary practices that you can do for yourself that have so many benefits.
Yeah, and I think it's, it's cool. It's helpful, I think, when you understand what's can happen physiologically by breathing, and then you pay attention. We always speak about being aware of what's going on in your body, and understanding what happens with breath work can really help us to pay attention to the shifts, subtle or dramatic, depending on where you're at, but the shifts that happen in our body just by being mindful of our breath. So cool stuff. And Adina said early on that there literally are thousands of different, breath techniques. I mean, we couldn't begin to name them all. I use many different ones at different times. It doesn't matter. This happens to just be my go-to easy favorite. But there literally are thousands of different breath techniques. If you do yoga or anything meditation, you've probably learned different breath techniques. They're all good. And again, physiologically, they all sort of do the same thing to the body. So I think, Adina, are you ready to take us through another technique?
Absolutely. So one of my go-tos is the central channel breathing. And I learned this breathing through the core of the body gives you the tangible experience of a multidimensional reality. What does that mean? And my translation on it, Bobby and myself talk about body, mind, and spirit, and making sure that we are, there's a nice balance between all three of these ideas, right? So if we're too much in spirit, then we're not tangible to the body and what its mission is. It's here to help us. It's our fleshy suit that takes us through what our purpose is, right? So, making sure that we're doing certain things that engage and incorporate all three, so we're getting a bigger balance between all three, body, mind, and spirit. In my research, I'm reading, I read a book of Dr. Sue Morter, and it's the energy codes. And it was, again, bridging that, the same mission that we're all on right now is bridging the gap between science and spirituality. Spirituality isn't this woo-woo anymore. There's scientifically proven facts, which Bobby shares a lot with them when she talks about the sympathetic and parasympathetic and heart rate, and she gives you the numbers and the stats. It's scientifically proven that these things will help you to create alignment between body, mind, and spirit, and living this best life that we're looking for. So when we think about central channel breathing, there's anchor points. And so if Bobby and I have taken you through the heart centered and feeling and encompassing the heart, which is very good. And it allows you to immediately come to that place. But if we want to give ourselves just a few more touch points, we can think about the anchor. We also have taken you guys through, if you haven't already seen it, go back to the chakra system. So if you think about the chakra system and the alignment, the heart is the center and the core of our being. And then we have all these other energy points within our central channel that creates alignment, right? And alignment to keep us centered. And the more centered we are and the more grounded we are, the more we can show up true and authentic and sturdy. I use the tree as an example because when I think about the central channel breathing and I think about creating that alignment for ourselves, it's like rooting ourselves into Mother Earth and then allowing that perfect alignment of self as the tree trunk, and then connecting to source, universe, highest self, greatest good, however you want to word that for yourself. So, this gives you a good visual of, it gave me a good visual of what we're trying to achieve. So in the central channel breathing, the anchor points is you want to think about your root chakra, your sacral, your solar plexus, your heart, your throat, your third eye, and then your crown chakra. In that, we have the roots, also known as the Mula Bandha. And as you anchor into the root, go down to the root for me right now. And what I want you to do is kind of like give it a squeeze and hold it there. It's okay. You can go back to the other slide, Bobby. And then what you're going to do is you're going to come up and you're going to now go to the heart. And give your heart a squeeze. And if you've never done this, thought about this, or experienced this before, it might take a second for you to adjust to this. But, you know, with this new information and new content, you can actually, you know, pull your shoulders back, sit up nice and straight, and feel and squeeze the front of your chest and the back of your chest, and then squeeze your heart. Give it a squeeze, 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 squeeze. Okay. And then you go up into your throat chakra, and then give your throat chakra that squeeze and that sensation. What you're doing, and the purpose is total engagement of our central channel. Okay. Now then you go up, and it's not that we're skipping past, but what we're going to do is we're going to go up into the the third eye chakra, and we're going to give that a squeeze. And the first time it was like, huh? But then as you start to build on this, it just becomes a sensation. And now you almost, as you're doing this central channel breathing, you can't help but engage all of them. Mm-hmm. So again, you know, the first time you do this, it might not, the sensations might not be as strong, but the more we implement this into our daily lives, the more it will become, again, just awareness of squeezing those specific central channels, because those are the anchors. But imagine if, as we take our breath, we have the ability to not only squeeze, but engage and keep them engaged as we're doing breath work. Mm-hmm. So just a hot tip, as I take you through this, what we're going to do is I gave you the anchor points and the central channel locators before we move on to the next level, which would be engaging all of our chakra systems. So as we do this, what you're going to do is you're going to take your attention, we're going to go in now, and you're going to take your attention from about 6 inches or more above your head. And as we move down with breath, just like Bobby said, you're going to find your cadence with your breath. And some people, it's going to be a short breath. Some people, it's going to be a little bit longer because of the lung capacity. So find the cadence. So if you do 5 in, you're going to want to do 5 out. If you do 10 in, then you're going to want to do 10 out. So you're just finding a nice rhythm within yourself and within your body. Starting that breath 6 inches above your head, and as you channel down and through with your inhalation, you're going to go to each point. Crown chakra, give it a squeeze and engage. Take that, continuing that breath, squeeze and engage your third eye. Squeeze and engage your throat chakra. Squeeze and engage your heart. Squeeze and engage your solar plexus. Squeeze and engage your sacral. Squeeze and engage your root. And end through the exhalation. What you're going to do is you're going to push that breath down and into the core of earth. You're going to find that breath deep, deep, and as deep as you can find those roots within, anchoring your body in the here, the now, in the present moment, here on earth. Now, when you take your next inhalation, it's going to come from that depth, from Mother Earth, and you're going to go back through the central channel, breathing up, root, and engaging sacral, solar plexus, heart, throat, third eye, crown, and exhale, and allow the breath to go back up into that space. You can do it one more time, coming up and above and through. And then down through the central channel and back down into earth. So this central channel breathing could be as simple as just 3 breaths, starting from the inhale on the up, inhale from the lower, and then inhale back up and back down to create a really strong grounding of self within this body here on earth into the present moment. I'm going to share that it's the first thing that I do every single morning so that I can ground myself And if that's the only thing I do, at least I did that for myself. So know that if you feel like you need to do that more than the 3 times, absolutely do. Find the right time, find the right space. But all it takes is 3 simple breaths. And what Bobby and I are sharing is that it couldn't get you more in the present moment, couldn't get you more connected to self, couldn't get you more connected to your heart and this mission that we are on, not just Bobby and myself, but you guys, to creating a beautiful, peaceful, balanced life.
Adina, I just have a question for you about the technique. I feel so good right now. But when I begin about 6 inches above my crown, am I going through and squeezing each one of my chakra points on that same cycle of breath? Or do I continue to take breaths in each one of those areas and exhale?
So great. That's a great question. So when you first start off and you're trying to find your cadence, you might find that I'm breathing in, I hit my, 3 central points, right? And then I don't have any more breath beyond my heart. So I'm just going to pick up from my heart and then move that breath back down and through. The point is, and then eventually you'll get that cadence where you can breathe all the way through the central channel and down into. So there, again, there is no right and wrong, and you're going to find it. But what it's doing is it's creating, the anchor points are your root, your heart, your throat, and your third eye, right? But to think and imagine to be able to engage all of them and then keep them squeezed as you're moving, or I say squeezed because it's just easy, but engaged all the way through. This isn't easy, and it's not something that you will do in the first try. I will let you know that. But just knowing that these steps, take a screenshot or refer back to these notes so that when you are doing the breaths, I know it's like creating an endurance in breath itself. I couldn't do 15 push-ups. I could only start with 1, and then eventually I was able to do more, right? Until I worked up to 15. So the same idea for this. As you breathe, it's okay if you stop at a specific area, just pick back up and then move back through. And then eventually you'll get to a point where you can go all the way through and up.
Yeah, it just takes practice, right?
Yeah.
I remember hearing that the lungs have a capacity to hold 6 liters of oxygen. And the average person, we typically use 1/3 of that, which means that where we live most of the time is in shallow breathing, right? Which is breathing from here, from the chest area, versus breathing from the diaphragm, from your belly. So it's another good way, if we want to go all the way back to like breathing 101, is to really begin to pay attention to where you're breathing from. The more lung capacity that you can begin to fill without effort, the deeper and more beneficial your breathing will be. So you can do a simple thing like place one hand on your chest, place one hand just below your belly button. I don't know if you could see that. Just with your hand just below your belly button, take a deep breath in and just pay attention to where you feel your hand moving. Which hand is moving? Is your breath coming from your chest area, or is your breath coming from your below your belly area? And ultimately where you want to breathe from is your diaphragm, from down deep below. That deep breath allows you to to use your lung capacity, and I think will help with this technique a lot, Adina, right? As you begin to learn to breathe deeper. But again, it's just to begin paying attention, and there's nothing wrong with, shallow breathing. There's nothing, it doesn't mean there's anything wrong. The more you practice with breath work, the deeper your breath will get, right? More the oxygen.
To the point that I can actually, I'm at a 10 count right now, right? So, I didn't start there. I started at probably about a 3 to 5. So again, it's just, implementing this on a daily basis and taking and utilizing these ideas as, pun intended, anchor points for you to refer back to so that you know how to implement these things. And the bonuses and advantages, where that breath comes from. I love all the sciencey bits.
Me too. So
6 liters. I'm all, what does that look like in a bottle?
For me, it's like, why? But why?
Totally.
you know. So anyway, if you want to know why, we'll let you know why.
So you
So
can relax.
we're going to just leave you with this thought, just relax and breathe. It's just a matter of paying attention to your breath, paying attention when your breath is feeling shallow, paying attention to when you're feeling anxious or stressed. And the solution is always, always, always to just stop and breathe.
Yay.
Yeah.
I'm
Thanks
not
for
saying
taking the
anymore.
time to listen to
Yeah,
me,
it
guys.
was good.
Love it. So thanks for taking the time to watch or listen or whatever you did. Please like the video below if you do like it, share it, subscribe if you haven't already. We'll see you on Wednesday mornings as always for live, and just appreciate you being part of the conscious community.
Right. And so we just got another, just to add on to that, Bobby, we do our lives on Instagram. Either go through Bobby Foster Kelly, Peace.Love.Balance Instagram channel, or go through mine, which is mastery_a.b, which is Adina Das. And you'll find us on a live every Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. on Instagram, or 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. And that's where we come together as a conscious community to engage and discuss all that we have here and how it is helping you and propelling you forward into this and into all the goodness.
Yes.
So relax and breathe. Peace, love, balance.
See you guys. Peace, love, balance.